You've probably been told to lose a bunch of fat, you need to take it slow and steady. I'm going to tell you why that's terrible advice, and it's why you fail to see the results that you want every single time. I've coached hundreds of clients through fat loss, and if there's one thing that pattern has showed me, it's this. The clients who get results early on, especially with the right structure, are the ones that stick with it down the line. I'm not saying fast fat loss by doing a random bunch of cardio or just slashing your calories, because at the end of the day, we're talking about fat loss. Fat loss requires skill and accuracy. The first thing to understand about fat loss is that it's not a lifestyle, it's a phase, right? You're not living on a fat loss phase forever, right? It's a temporary period of time that you're going to bring your calories down, or you're going to do more steps or whatever, or a combination of both, that you're going to end up getting to your desired body fat percentage. The sacrifices you've got to make, the side effects that you're going to feel, these are all temporary things that you're not going to have to live on. But the tools that you get from doing fat loss the right way is going to then help you later down the line to be able to maintain that result. Speed is motivating. When you decide to finally make a change, when you're sick of not fitting in the clothes you want, when you look down, you're sick of pulling on your shirt to hide your belly, that is the moment where it clicks and you've had enough. So that is where your motivation is going to be the highest. So if you start a fat loss phase and you put your numbers into some stupid calorie calculator, or you figure out what your maintenance is roughly and you take a couple of hundred of that because you're scared to go lower in calories, well, you're not capitalizing on what would be the most motivating window you're ever going to have. So if your progress ends up being that slow or that non-existent, or you're seeing your scale weight come down a couple of grams every week, it's not going to be very motivating, and it's not going to push you on to do more. That's why I believe that when then temptation arises, when you've got the weekend where you've got nothing to lose because you've not really been seeing much progress anyway. So that's just how we are as humans. We need a positive reinforcement from our effort. My second point on this, that the faster you lose fat, the quicker you can get onto more food and actually building your physique. People that are in shape that you see on Instagram that look great, that have the abs, that have the definition, that have muscle, they're spending most of their year building, right? Whereas I know people that have always struggled with their weight and they're always in this in and out fat loss cycle. So if you want to break that fat loss cycle for good, yes, you've got to lose fat efficiently and get to that goal, but you also need to learn how to maintain. You also need to learn how to build, and you also need to experience what it's like to actually eat more food as part of your goal. Because people are either in this all or nothing cycle. It's either I'm just going to live and eat like a slob, or I'm going to go do the maddest David Goggins 75 hard challenge. And my third point to why fat loss should be fast is every diet has a shelf life. Your discipline, no matter how disciplined you think you are, your discipline has a time period, right? Now, the longer that you diet for, and especially if you're seeing such slow progress, the less and less you're able to rely on willpower. That the biggest hindrance to you being able to stick at your plan is lack of progress, right? So it's kind of a shit show. It's kind of a cycle. It's like, right, I've been dieting for so long, I've not really seen much progress. Then you start to creep in too many snacks, too many big weekends, and then it's just this fucking cycle of not seeing any progress and then giving up. There's a few key points that I want to make on aggressive fat loss. So you need to make sure that it's done with structure. You don't want to just be adding in cardio, slashing your calories ridiculously. We're talking about fat loss. You do not want to just lose weight, and you do not want to lose muscle, because that's how you age 10 years and you just do not look good. So for us to ensure that fat loss is done, we need to set up a calorie target that is challenging, and you are going to be hungry, but you're still able to hit a protein goal. Now, I recommend for most people, times your kilos by 2 in body weight, and that's the amount of grams to be hitting for protein. Your targets are going to be individual, of course, but that needs to be a must when you're setting up your diet plan. My next point is steps. Figure out how many steps you hit on average without much effort and increase that amount. You could increase, every couple of weeks as you go. If you've got a very active job, you don't really need to worry about steps. But especially if you have a sit-down job like myself, you want to make sure that you're making a bit more conscious effort to hit a good step goal. As if not, you're just making fat loss on hard mode and you're having to go lower in calories than what's needed. Here's some trade-offs with fast fat loss that you should be aware of. You're going to be hungrier, right? If your deficit is bigger, right, you're going to feel more side effects and you're going to feel hungry. But that is exactly why you need to be seeing a good rate of progress to be able to not give in to that temptation. You're going to have to make sacrifices, right? Understanding that fat loss is a temporary phase, and your mates might be all going out for beers, they might be going out for dinners, through the week. You've got to prep your food and not get the takeaway on the go at work. These sacrifices are temporary, and if you're not going to make any of these sacrifices, well, then expect the fat loss to hardly happen, or to happen that slow that you just end up giving up in the process. Now, what sort of rate of loss am I talking about when I say aggressive fat loss? So you don't want to be losing 2 kilos, 3 kilos a week, right? That would just be something that you're doing, that you're completely under eating, you're overdoing output, you're overdoing cardio, and you'd be very, very likely losing muscle in that process and really struggling with stress. You want to be looking at losing 0.5 kilo to 1 kilo per week. I would say that is a good base to follow. Make sure you are measuring your progress accurately. A lot of people start a fat loss phase and not even measure it, right? You do not want to be weighing yourself in the afternoon, after food, after water, weighing yourself fasted only. You also do not want to be weighing yourself once a week or once every fortnight. You want to make sure that you're taking multiple weigh-ins over across the week. So I like to do it at least 3 times with clients. Photos are going to be your number one measurement. If we're talking about fat loss and body recomposition, photos are going to be your best measurement. They will not lie to you. Take a photo from the front, side and back at the very start of your process, and I would take photos weekly so you're making that progress. The next point I want to make is that you can take diet breaks. So it's very common with clients, especially if they're seeing faster rates of fat loss, that when it's needed, when we see a plateau, we will take a break off dieting. This could be a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, spending time at maintenance. Remember, you can do that. So especially if your strategy is going to be aggressive, you can take breaks. You can build yourself back up to maintenance. You can relieve some fatigue. You can start to have a bit more flexibility for a week or 2, and then you're kind of ready to go again. So that goes for you even if you have a big long-term weight loss journey. It's very unlikely that you're going to get from your heaviest weight to your leanest weight in just one clean run. Very, very rare. So you can take diet breaks. Look out for those signs. Are you getting fatigued? Is your strength completely dropping off? Are you feeling too stressed out? Are you seeing a plateau on the scale? These are the times to take a step back, build your calories more up to maintenance, experience a bit more food, and then you're ready to go again. I hope I cleared up this common myth that people think fast fat loss is dangerous or it's not going to work. 100% it works, because I've worked with hundreds of clients and got them into their leanest position and shown them how to maintain it as well. If you'd like more in-depth help with this stuff, I have great news. I'm launching an 8-week rapid fat loss program, me coaching you one-to-one on how to get a great result and lose 4 to 8 kilos in those 8 weeks. You can get the early bird special for $199 for the whole 8 weeks. Spaces go out on the 20th of July and we start on the 3rd of August. If you want one of those spaces, you must be on the priority list. The link is in the description.